Welcome, thrice welcome, dear listeners. Welcome to this edition of Achtung Millwall. In the aftermath of yesterday's pretty good, in fairness, 1-1 draw with Sunderland, we're going to take you over very shortly to my live stream of consciousness, in-game thoughts, musings and witticisms, such as you might think them to be. But before we begin any of today's show, it is, of course, time for our punditgames.co.uk question. Pundit Games is the #1 ultimate football trivia game. We're in partnership with Pundit Games this season. Every time you buy one of this excellent quiz game, board game for Christmas, perchance, then the Lions Food Hub gets a little bonus out of that transaction. So it's a great cause, it's a great game. And we give you a little taster question before each edition this season to give you a little sense of what kind of questions are involved. Different categories, different genres of football. This one comes from the Premier League in the 2000s. This is a target man who started on £15 a week at non-league Hayes before he made his way up the football pyramid, a Grenadian international. He's probably best known for his partnership with Nathan Ellington at Wigan. So we're talking 1995-97 playing for Hayes in non-league. Then he's gone from Wolves, Bristol Rovers, West Bromwich Albion, 24 goals for West Brom, 2000 to 2004 from 89 appearances, spell at Pompey. Wigan, 2004 to 6, they would have been Premier League, I think, at this time. 37 goals for Wigan, 93 appearances. Then Blackburn, 134 starts with 24 goals before finishing at Reading. Played for the Grenadian national team, 15 times scoring, 13 goals, a goal scorer. Actually a player that we probably would give our right arm for at the moment ourselves, dear listeners. So who is that man? Most famously teamed with Nathan Ellington at Wigan, but he also turned out for West Brom, scored goals for Bristol, West Brom, Wigan Athletic and Blackburn Rovers. Answers at the end of today's show. So now we're going to take you over to the action at the Den yesterday.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome, dear listeners. Welcome to a pre-match Den. I just thought I'd take the chance of a little bit of quiet time in the Groupon sponsored Block 1 to run you through today's team changes ahead of the visit of Sunderland this afternoon. Thank you for listening to the show, by the way. You're listening, of course, to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Hart, and it wouldn't be Millwall. It's another week, another existential crisis. Wouldn't be Millwall without one, listeners, would it? It's a frosty, cold afternoon this afternoon. Today's team announcement, we've had a few changes from that midweek debacle, embarrassment up there at Portman Road. Today we're leading the line up front with Kevin Nisbet. Actually, I should start from the back, shouldn't I? Show my football credentials. In goal this afternoon, Bart Bielkowski, I thought was the only player that could really leave the pitch at Ipswich with his head held high. The back four is going to be Murray Wallace. Jake Cooper returns to the side, having been bizarrely dropped on Wednesday night. Wes Harding returns. Sean Hutchinson, who looked a bit off the pace, in all honesty, up there in East Anglia, leaves the side for the bench. Ryan Leonard makes a welcome comeback on the right side of the defence. I'm going to presume this formation looks like it's been lifted off of maybe Lions TV have lifted it. I don't know, one of these kids that make their own formations up on graphics, you know. Anyway, we're going to put Ryan Leonard on the right side of the defence, right back position, we're guessing. The midfield two this afternoon, Jules Saville and Billy Mitch. So Casper De Noor out of the starting 11. I'll check the substitutes bench shortly. In front of them, we think, will be George Honeyman, Zian Fleming, hugely criticised by many, including myself, from Wednesday, and then Norton Cuffy, we think. Up front, as I've said already and alluded to, is Kevin Nisbet. Let's have a look at the Lions bench, dear listeners. Sitting on the Lions bench this afternoon is Sarkic returning to the squad. Danny McNamara, Sean Hutchinson's on the bench, we said. Tom Bradshaw's on the bench. Ryan Longman's on the bench. Alan Campbell, the ghost of Bermondsey Town, is on the bench. Duncan Watmore, Imaku and Esse. So De Noor is not featuring this afternoon, which is an interesting choice by, is he under pressure already, Joe Edwards? There's a huge outcry online after that thumping. It's 2 thumpings in a week we've taken. Last week obviously against Coventry, then at Ipswich on Wednesday. Is he under pressure already? He shouldn't be, but it's whether the then crowd has the toleration for another poor performance this afternoon. I really hope we can avoid defeat. I'm going to set already start of today's proceedings against 11th place Sunderland, dear listeners, for a point. If we can get a point, I think we'll probably would have done well. Speaking to the it's the club's programme. They don't do a programme anymore, do they? But speaking in his notes, head coach Joe Edwards says we were unable to stamp a greater mark on the night on Wednesday. He's sorry for that. He was frustrated that we couldn't make a greater impact on Wednesday night. Highs and lows are part of the game, he says. Thank you for that, Joe. A few highs would be nice. He thanks also the 1,200, and I'd like to give a shout out to the 1,267 Millwall fans that made it up there to Ipswich in cold and foggy East Anglia. As he puts it here, thankfully the Championship fixtures come thick and fast, they do. And he sees today as a chance to put right what didn't work on Wednesday. What didn't work? It was basics again. Fundamental things like marking your man, challenging, passing to the players in your own team, stuff like that. Things you learn. I dropped off this morning at Beckton Park. There were some kids playing football, Saturday morning football. They're working on basics like passing to their own team and retaining possession, right situation, but all that kind of thing. You've seen it, you do it probably with your kids, listeners. So that's what we've got to try and see at least signs of this afternoon. I think whatever else happens today, Joe needs some signs of progress, because we started well up there at Sheffield Wednesday, didn't we? Then it's all the wheels seem to have come off very, very rapidly. Whether there's a frosty atmosphere, it's certainly a frosty day here. It's a cold afternoon here in Bermondsey. Whether there's a frosty atmosphere at Coleman Road at the moment, I don't know. Another reshuffle of the scene. I imagine a lot of this is going to be based on what he's seen, but also a chance to take a look at players and pitch them into big situations. And make no mistake, Sunderland at home, it's a big game. Sunderland going to be bringing, I think I read 3,000 to the Den this afternoon, and the Den is not far short of another sellout. There were tickets, limited tickets available when I looked yesterday. So after 2 very basic routings in a week, we need a performance, we need to avoid defeat and maybe a result. Can we dream? Following last night's games, we're now just 4 points above the relegation bottom 3. So I think I'll leave it there. Come back when the teams are coming out onto the pitch with Corporal Jones's famous missive to not panic, Mr. Mannering. Don't panic, listeners. I'm panicking. Well, here come the 2 teams, dear listeners. No Casper Denoy, as we've said pre-match. Apparently a calf injury has put our Belgian midfield maestro out of action this afternoon, not even on the bench. We'll find out later after post-match how bad the injury to Casper is. I hope not too bad. He's been very influential player. Today's midfield will be Billy Mitch, George Saville. Huge game. It's been building up since Wednesday. I've got to admit, I feel a bit itchy and scratchy about today's situation, listeners. It's Joe Edwards needs a performance. He needs to show the crowd something to justify his position. Early to be saying that, and I don't entirely agree with that stance, but that's the vibe that I'm starting to pick up on the internet. I bet you are too. Impatience is going to be the enemy of progress, in my opinion, but that's where we're at. So anyway, Sunderland this afternoon in their famous red and white stripes. Millwall, of course, dark blue and white shorts. It's a cold afternoon. I'm dressed in my full Windsor's outfit. Yes, I've got the long johns out. I know you're interested. Ben filling up nicely. I did see on the Club X feed that limited tickets are available, so I'm going to guess we're close to another full house. Won't be far short of it. The Groupon stand is not quite as full as it has been, but it's still pretty full. Looks like Mill going to be attacking the away end in accordance with the dictums of the Venerable Bede. Early Christian pioneer in this country. Knocked out the old Anglo-Saxon Chronicle on the quiet whilst no one was looking. And verse 1, chapter 1, book 1, page 1 says, "Ye Millwall shall attack the away end in the first half." Away we go. The club's taken to replaying, famous Millwall incidents from the past before the game. I'm not sure it's been terribly successful. The sort of semi-final, the Sunderland, there's a long throw in from the right side for Mill to press on early on the right side. This is Norton Cuffy going to be tracking it all the way back to Bart Bielkowski. Yeah, the kind of video of great moments, including Mark Kennedy, all these moments, but I'm not sure it's done as much good. An amazing 6 defeats this season at home for the Lions, just 2 wins. I can't think of a season like it. And unless that turns around, in my opinion, we're going to have problems. QPR won last night, I think I've said that already, and we are now just sitting 4 points above the bottom 3. So we need a result soon. Zian fighting for the ball there, little 1-2 almost with Nisbet. That was almost a nice move. It's gone all the way back to the yellow-clad Sunderland goalkeeper. Black Cats, of course, nickname. A nickname apparently lost in the mist of time. One of the early features of Sunderland team photos was they had a cat, maybe the club cat or something, and they acquired the unofficial nickname over the years as a consequence. Good atmosphere, floodlights on, grey skies, cold day, cold, 0 centigrade. I'm well aware that our show goes around all around the world. They call us from Calgary and from on the continent where it gets very, very cold, and they must laugh when I say it's freezing, it's 0. But believe me, listeners around the world, you haven't had anything till you've had a damp, cold British 0. Miserable experience. Good old-fashioned Jake Cooper diag there. It does fall now, Billy Mitch. Ball forwards, Norton Cuffy on the right side. He cuts in. He tried a shot, I think it was. It wasn't exactly a cross, but it wasn't quite a shot, with Nisbet asking why he didn't put him in. But ambitious, if nothing else. 9 minutes in. Always had a bit of time for Sunderland. I don't know about you, dear listeners. I don't, I don't have any great distaste for them. Proper club, big club, falling upon hard times, but they always bring a lot on. It's a poor pass there by Nisbet, allowing Sunderland to break, but that's good work there by Jake Cooper. And there finds Jake Honeyman. That's just overstruck, unfortunately, unlucky. A ground I've not been to. I've not been to the Stadium of Light, and every year comes round, I think I must get up there, and there's always some reason why. Can't, won't, whatever, there's one that's on my bucket list. Another long pass over to the left side for Sunderland. Is into the box. Bodies are in the way, thankfully. This is Norton Cuffy. Lovely, just on the brink of disaster. He managed to bring the ball out there. That's going to go for no, not quite a throw. Nisbet chasing back all the way back to the goalkeeper, though. That's Ballard, of course, drawing a few comments from the. He was a spurned lover syndrome. I bet a lot of them actually do check out his Facebook page, see who he's going out with and stuff like that. Good player, of course. Would have done us a power of good if we'd have managed to sign him, along with Charlie Cresswell, but still. I'm going to tempt Lady Luck now, listeners, who's a cruel mistress, to say it's not been a bad start by him. It's not been disastrous. I suppose that's progress of sorts. It hasn't been a disaster. It's been mostly, so far, 15 minutes in, it's been mostly Sunderland possession coming at us, but we haven't looked as off the pace as we did at Ipswich, which is a low bar, I do accept. Much better tackling so far, listeners. I hesitate to draw huge conclusions, but clearly the rocket that would have been issued generally by Joe Edwards on Wednesday the memo's been received. The tackling is a bit more on point. There's a poor ball there though, just as I was doing the commentator's curse. It's going to give Sunderland it's going to be a ball into touch. Yeah, a bit more physicality so far from Millwall. We are coming towards 20 minutes in, and it's not been the same kind of patsy performance that we saw at Portman Road. so far. I think that's a Brooke Norton Cuffey song. Oh no, you're a bunch of donkeys, sorry. Misheard lyrics. I thought it was actually quite a difficult name to set to any kind of rhythm, really. Brooke Norton Cuffey. You could do the Agadoo song, would that work? Slight mist in the air, cold mist I suppose you'd call it. It's not quite a fog or anything anywhere near it, but you can see it in the air. It's that kind of cold, harsh day, listeners. Damp cold, English cold, all you foreign listeners, with your dry cold and your sub-zero temperatures. This is miserable English cold, which is a different level. We are world leaders in miserable cold. Perhaps only the Scottish and the Irish can compete with us, or the Welsh. No real action in front of goal for either side. I'd say that some of them probably have had the better of the possession. But Millwall have not been out of it by any stretch. It's a fine call. Anyway, this is a free kick. Chance for them to dip the ball forwards. Probably aim for Dan Ballard, I'd imagine. Sunderland's fans singing up. Chip forwards to Jake Cooper. Edge of the penalty, a shot. It's bouncing around. Offside. 33 minutes, right side, just inside the Sunderland half. Chance for Mill to lob the ball forwards. In it comes. Jake Cooper clearly pushed off the ball, but referee don't give it. This is Billy Mitch. Little dinky ball into the mix. It's headed clear by the defender. Nice work there, Ryan Leonard. You're going to keep hearing that name. Man of the match performance so far by Ryan Leonard for me. Crowd love it. Listen to that response. Good tackle, Wes Harding. Made a mistake, but put it right. This is Norton Cuffey attacking his man to the penalty. A ball across the face of the goal. Unlucky there, Millwall. That's a chance. Ziad Fleming following in, sliding in into the net. 36 minutes. Another Sunderland player down with clutching his ankle. That drew some comment, didn't it? Let him die. Which has been around since I started going in 1972. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been the Coventry fan commented on that. What an awful chant that is. In this modern world of offence. I don't think it was very offensive at all. It's just been a football chant, you know. No one really means it. Versus Ryan Leonard break forwards. Oh, what a shot! That was 1978 World Cup Passarella style shot from about 35 yards. It was wide left, unfortunately. Beautiful strike, Ryan Leonard. 37 minutes in. Mill starting to claw their way into a game that they've not been out of, but haven't been starting to impose themselves. We're starting to see a little bit more in position now. That's good to see. Ball breaks. Brooke Norton Cuffey midfield. Just slightly entangling himself there, rather. But we do keep possession. Billy Mitch onto the second ball there. That was one criticism I think that Joe Edwards did make on Wednesday night. Ipswich, we were second best to, second balls in midfield. And that was a loose ball, but he was first to, so that's good to see. It's been a much better half, more Millwall in the sense that we've passed it where required, but also not been afraid to get the ball forwards when required. And I think there's been maybe a slight philosophical change. I don't know if Joe Edwards is accepting that the reality that this team can't play Manchester City style football, but we can play a Millwall style of football, and maybe the two can meet somewhere, like a crossing point, like the Glienicke Bridge that used to be in East Berlin and West Berlin. Maybe you can meet somewhere and exchange prisoners on either side. And it's been a better half from Millwall, in my opinion. This has been more like a Millwall side this afternoon so far. That classic caveat so far. Ball breaks. George Honeyman breaking. He's got Ziad Fleming. Gets barged off the ball there. It's going to be a goal corner. Just second best in the challenge there, shoulder to shoulder, just about to break forwards. Good to see him playing further forwards as more of a striker than the midfielder this afternoon. He looks happier. That was a nice burst forward, but he was just second bested in the 50-50 challenge. We're on 41, coming towards 42 minutes. George Honeyman to take the corner down below us in the Groupon stand. In it comes, it's curled in, it's deep. Murray Wallace is being rugby tackled at the far posts. Ball backs into the middle, it's bouncing around, it's that looks like a shot on target by George Saville. That was a shout for a penalty. I'd like to see that again. We don't have the old VAR, but I bet if you did, you'd see something there, listeners. As it was shot on target by George Saville, but collected down low by the goalkeeper. Mill's first real shot on target that I can think of in the game so far. But an increasingly better performance as the half's gone along by the Lions. Diagonal from Jake Cooper, trying to find George Hunt. Does find him. Nice ball. He's got Zian just inside of him. What can Zian do? He's back heels it. He's a boy, isn't he? That's a cross in the goalkeeper takes. Nice back heel pass there by Zian Fleming. He would do your head in, I reckon. He got away with it there. It was actually a nice move. Nice pass. That's George Saville was into the path of Saville. Leonard gets clattered. The ball in from Norton Cuffy. 1-0 Millwall! Kieran Nisbet! Right-sided cross. Chance home. Kieran Nisbet! 1-0 Lions! Nice move. 44 minutes. Leonard's down injured. In the course of that move, he took a clattering. Let's see if we can see it on the replay from what I can see of it. Ball in from Brooke Norton Cuffy into the box, and there's Kevin Nisbet to slide it home with aplomb. 1-0 Millwall just before half-time. But Leonard does look injured. He's been my man of the match so far as well, so let's hope he's okay. Yellow card. He's taken a battering. He's absolute battering this half. He's given everything, but he's been the standout player for me. That was a beautiful cross by Brooke Norton Cuffy, and that was a beautiful finish by Kevin Nisbet. Let's raise the spirits around the den, dear listeners. There will be some added time, I don't know how much. 3-4 minutes perhaps, with the injuries so far, most of which have been Ryan Leonard. Well, like they said at the used to say at the start of Fame, I don't know if any older listeners will remember this. They will remember it, even if they don't admit to it. They used to say that the hard work starts now. We're 1-0 up. We've got to work hard here because Sunderland have been a little bit out of it since we've clawed our way into the game, but they're not a bad side. So we need to keep at it, listeners. That's another long ball. Kenny Jackett style long ball football. Is that what Joe is? Is that Joe Edwards' new world? Is that his brand new world, listeners? Lovely. Oh, Nisbet can't touch it because he was offside. Lovely flick. Fleming, I think, has been told to go and turn it on there. There's the half-time whistle. 1-0 Millwall at the break. You can hear the applause all around me. That's been a much, much better performance by the Lions, much more Millwall-like. And the players will leave to applause. They must enjoy that, and I hope they enjoy it. Man of the match so far for me, Ryan Leonard. Let's hope he can continue the second half. But that's been a good show so far by the Lions.
Achtung, Millwall.
Both teams come out for the second half. The listeners, Lions enter the arena to warm applause, which is unusual. Trying to analyse that first half. At the break, I think we've taken a step forwards. It certainly wasn't a disaster. That's in itself is something. I think the football so far has been less, possibly less the style that Joe Edwards might want to aspire to. I think that must remain a work in progress. Maybe more Millwall and less Barcelona. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Yeah, perhaps more a touch of realism, possibly. I don't know, from Joe Edwards. It's we've played some nice passing moves when we've had to, and we've not been afraid to go long when appropriate. And I think it's that mix, finding that balance, that's the holy grail. So so far so good. Leading at the half 1-0 with a beautiful finish by Kevin Nisbet. Oh, that's the West Ham player, isn't it? Ginger player, can't think of his name, scored a goal, made a West Ham sign. That silly X sign there, mate. Taking a bit of slacking down there. Long memories at the den, dear listeners, long memories, mate. This is Sunderland in possession. 52 minutes, I make it. Calmly done by Ryan Leonard under pressure. Back to Bart Bielkowski, who hoofs it clear there. Needed a cool head and we got it. He's been a really strong presence in this game for me. Ryan Leonard's taken a battering at times. That's a beautiful ball down the line, trying to find Nisbet. It runs on to Brooke Norton-Cuffy now into the box, right side. What can he do? Across the face of the goal, it falls to... Oh, who's that? Zian Fleming couldn't get anything on it, unfortunately. He got it stuck under his foot at the far post. Opportunity there for Millwall, but not taken. Sunderland break. Norton-Cuffy back there doing the work. And still coming down our left side, but it's cleared in the end by Wes Harding. Straight back to the West Ham slag. This is Sunderland now coming forwards. Ball wide right. Space on that side for their winger. It's back across the face of the goal. Brooks should bring away. That's a brilliant ball. That's toward Kevin Nisbet. 2-on-2 at the moment, but Sunderland streaming back now. This is Nisbet. Just ran out of time and space, unfortunately, into defender. Game is wide open. It could go either way at the moment, listeners. Millwall thankfully leading by that one goal at the end of the first half, but both teams looking to play open football. Good, it's entertaining. Be nice if we are the winners in this entertaining contest, though. So Millwall substitutions. He's just coming in here. This is Longman. Honeyman coming out for Longman. Looks like Bradshaw's coming, I imagine, for Nisbet. Done well today, Nisbet. Looked good. Scorer of the goal and has put himself around. So good performance, Kevin Nisbet. In comes Tom Bradshaw. Long ball. We've not been afraid of the long ball this afternoon, listeners. Which is good to see. That's the Millwall in me coming out. That's the 1972 Millwall coming out of me. Until 65 minutes. This is Sunderland now surging into the box. That's a great tackle, listeners. Ryan Leonard. Only so far clearance-wise, so we are back under the cosh with Sunderland coming at us. 20 now on the left side. Surge into the penalty area. There's a ball into... Oh! Near post ball that's put wide by the 32. Wow. I think we dodged the bullet there, listeners. 66 minutes. Come towards the halfway point of the second half. It's very much still in the balance. Both sides pressing forwards. Both sides getting chances. This could go either way. Millwall free kick, but Saville gets a yellow card. I'm lost for words. That's for asking for a yellow card. The referee saying don't ask for yellow cards. I kind of agree with that. I hate that. It's one thing in the modern game I hate is players waving their imaginary yellow cards or red cards at the referee. It's a continental thing. I don't like it. Well, it's a continental thing. It's an English thing because it's the Englishman doing it. So, I just aspect of the modern game I find distasteful. Long ball forwards towards Longman on the left. Does well to take the ball. He's taking turns, trying to get the ball in. He does. It's Bradshaw. Oh! Flash shot across the face of the goal. Just thought it might nick in off the post, but no, it's gone for Coleman. Must have taken a deflection. Wow. Lovely ball in from Longman. Beautiful little kind of touch shot from Tom Bradshaw. It's gone for a right-sided corner. The support is shit. They got 3,000 of them down here from up north on a day when there's trains been cancelled left, right and centre. Sunderland in possession. Edge of our penalty area. Oh, that's scuffed by Jake Kubo. He's looking to put his laces for it. It's gone for a corner, right-sided corner. 72 minutes-ish. Could do with Husky chocolate. Keep advertising it for the skiing fraternity. We could do with some right now. It's freezing, listeners. That's hoof cleared by Zian Fleming. Only as far as the 20 mil, under a lot of pressure at the moment. But Sunderland now in possession, edge of the mill penalty. They've got space on the right side. Oh, fired over by the 5. That was a chance. Crossing from the right, the 5 gets a free shot on goal that puts it over the bar. Wow. Mill dodge a bullet there, listeners. We ride our luck. 73rd minute. Sunderland back on the attack now, listeners. It's end-to-end stuff. This is the 20s. Looks a dangerous boy. That's a great tackle. Oh no, it's not a penalty. No way. No way was that a penalty given against Ryan Leonard. That was a sliding tackle. He got the ball. Good danger run into the box by the Sunderland forward. Referees give a penalty. Ugh. I didn't think so. I'll need to see it again. 78 minutes. Jay Cooper's got himself booked in there. The referee's going card happy for protesting over something. 1, 2, 3 steps back. Here we go. 1 each, bottom left. Controversial decision there, dear listeners. That's a gutter, dear listeners. That is a gutter. I thought we've done well in this game. Ball forwards. There's Tom Bradshaw chasing that. Gets tripped. Nothing given. Going to be a throw in Millwall down by the right side corner flag. Just short, just over 10 minutes to go. So we're about 79 minutes. This game really can go both ways now, dear listeners. Ball falls. This is ball through. This is Tom Bradshaw. Can he do it? Clips at the last. Saved by the goalkeeper. Nice ball through. There's a moment where I thought he was through on goal there. He got a shot away, but the goalkeeper did get down smartly to kill that chance for Tom Bradshaw. Millwall playing for a win here, listeners. It's going to leave open the possibility that we can concede one. But this is not Gary Rowett anymore. There's the ball back to the goalkeeper. He will clear it. Beautiful, a little ball through. This is Duncan Watmore. He's got men left. This is Longman. Full through to Longman. Can he get the ball into the box? It's into the middle, headed clear. Back to Longman on the left. That's taken a deflection. Oh, it's come off the post. 2-1! Tom Bradshaw! Oh, offside. Offside. Slammed home by Tom Bradshaw, but given offside. Deflected shot. It came off the post. Fell in the path of Tom Bradshaw and put it away, but it's been given offside. 87 minutes. Well, it's been a grandstand finish, whichever way it goes here, listeners. It's still in the balance, I'd say. Millwall are throwing the kitchen sink at Sunderland, searching for a winner that they feel they will deserve. And I would agree with that. I think the penalty was harsh. And there's a kind of a sense of Millwall chaos in the air. But that can go two ways, of course. But it's a good feeling. Missed it. This is Sunderland on the break. That's a great tackle by Wes Harding there, listeners. Good player, Wes Harding. Whatever else today will do, dear listeners, it will raise spirits around Millwall because it's been the most Millwall performance that I've seen in a long while. I mean, that's going maybe back to the Sheffield United game of last season under the reign of the band we don't talk about anymore, Rowlett. It's been a very, very refreshing Millwall performance, and well done to Joe Edwards. I mean, I'd say it's not been overly focused on passing for the sake of it. I'm hoping that Joe Edwards has got the realism streak that says this is the way. This will employ the bring the den into the game. So, well, fair play to him and the squad. There it is. It finishes 1 each. Controversial penalty gives Sunderland the point. Much improved performance by Millwall. I know it weren't a win. It should have been. Man of the match for me today is Ryan Leonard, but I won't fight the Brooke Norton-Cuffy voters. Overall, much more refreshing performance, much more Millwall performance, a bit more direct, a bit more attacking verve and pressing forwards to try and win it late in the game. Everything you want to see from a Millwall performance. Yes, it could have been better. Yes, there's room for improvement. But listen to that. That's the verdict to the den. It finishes Millwall 1, Sunderland 1.
Achtung, Millwall.
Joining us next on the show after that 1-1 draw yesterday at the Den. It's a long time guest on the show. I haven't spoken for a little while though. It's good to have you back. Charlie Mahoney. How you doing, Charlie?
Yeah, not bad. Cheers, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. We were just saying off air, mate. I actually enjoyed going to the football yesterday, and it's been a while since I can say that. It was refreshing, Charlie, wasn't it?
It did feel like it was a bit sort of like similar to what we were used to a while back. I was just trying to think. Probably the second half against Hull City at home was
Yeah,
probably the most I've enjoyed it since then. Really,
I suppose Gary Rowett, if his ghost was still haunting the corridors of the den, would call it a bit of a Millwall chaos day. But I kind of like it. I, one thing struck me yesterday, Charlie. I wanted to get your take before we talk about the game. I was quite pleased to see Joe Edwards maybe modify some of his footballing principles. He's come into us with this laudable idea to try and raise the style of the game that we're playing. We saw some of it against Coventry, certainly at Sheffield. We saw a bit of it, the passing and style, shall we call it, modern style or whatever way you want to put it. But yes, he felt a bit like an acceptance of a bit of realism. We had a bit of passing, but also we weren't afraid of the longer pass as well if it was played well. I found that quite refreshing.
yeah, I think I agree with you that it's laudable that he has his, for want of a better description, like a philosophy and something he wants to
Yeah,
bring in. But there was a pragmatism about us yesterday, and he's obviously sat back and thought about the previous two results and thought, well, I've got to try and put the brakes on this run now and just do whatever it takes to, if not beat Sunderland, to avoid defeat at all costs, really. There was a real
yeah,
practical nature about us. And I thought it was interesting as well because it was slightly reminiscent of what we were like under Rowett when things were going well at home. Um,
yeah,
and I think you could see a cogent argument for and against sort of Rowett's approach as opposed to this thing that Edwards is trying to do, because it was very much, relinquish possession, make sure that we're kind of covering the threats of the opposition. Um, don't worry too much about retaining the ball and just getting the ball forward quickly when we do have it.
yeah,
But then
yeah. I mean,
that also led to the demise a bit, I think, as well.
I suppose Rowett, like all managers, have their road runs out in the end, Charlie, doesn't it? And I think Rowett reached the end of his road, that's for sure. But I can also see, and I think probably is an increasing understanding maybe around those that think about these things, that Rowett was trying to play to the strengths and the limitations, or within the
Mm.
limitations of the squad that we've got. And I think we probably saw those limitations a bit last week against Coventry, but really certainly at Ipswich in midweek, which was an embarrassment, I thought, as a display. But hard words from Joe Edwards after that game at Portman Road, Charlie, and he demanded a reaction. And fairness, he got it, didn't he? I thought there was a good team performance yesterday, and obviously return of Ryan Leonard in defence, which was very pleasing. Man of the match for me yesterday. But it was good to see that reaction. That he got what he asked for, and I think that will be something positive to take out of yesterday's draw.
I think it was like vital that the response was positive, because I think they even commented on it on Sky after the game in the week that it was quite bold of Edwards to sort of go in two-footed on the players like that. I mean, they certainly deserved it because they played so poorly. But of someone of his lack of experience and relative
Yeah.
kind of newness to the job, that's a real kind of bold move to be so openly critical when we don't know as supporters whether he's got, whether he's stamped his authority on that squad just yet.
Well, I think he did, and football is the football world is not one for faint hearts, is it? So,
Mm.
there is Joe Edwards. Yes, he's worked at a very high level and with some big, high-profile names. But he hasn't played the game, so there's one thing that there's always a sense of you've got to establish yourself as an authority, as you put it rightly. And secondly, he's not managed anyone on a senior level, so twofold, and he's young, and that's also going to play a part because there are some senior players that won't be terribly far behind him in terms of age. So yeah, he's got to come in and he's got to establish himself. And it was a high risk gamble with those words, but I think he made his point. And I think by being unafraid to make changes, including his own style, Charlie, I
Mm.
think it must say something to the squad that this is a serious manager and somebody that wants to succeed and will evolve rather than do a revolution, if that's the right analogy. I don't know. And I think that was those words were effective, because we saw some of the effect yesterday. I mean, it was a much more high tempo game, much more Millwall game. Really, I thought the atmosphere and the way that the manner of play from the Mill side, I thought it was much more us.
Yeah, I was pleased with it overall. Like a lot of people talking about the fact that we could have won. We had a series of chances late on that we didn't really take, but I just think you have to look at it. You have to look at the bigger picture after two terrible results, really, and just, as I say, put the brakes on that. I think it was vital that we didn't lose yesterday. And
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I
Yeah.
think one of my concerns as well is not only do we need to avoid defeat, but we need to avoid it by the sort of deficit that we'd had in the previous two matches. Because whatever people think of Edwards, whether they're going to get behind him or not, you have 3 consecutive defeats by a high margin, and that really does make your position quite quickly difficult.
Yeah, I mean, there's comments in the week after the Ipswich thumping, and we've been thumped too many times this season. For a Millwall team to have 6 home losses, but it's not even Christmas, is shocking. But I do agree. One thing, avoid defeat, but the manner of the performance was probably number one. But certainly we didn't want to get stuffed again. And Sunderland were a decent side, I thought, Charlie. They started off well. They had a couple of moments. I don't think I'd call them chances in that first half. They certainly had. They're probably winning the possession battle, and they had a few moments around our box, but we weren't out of it either. There was a great shot from Ryan Leonard's, man of the match, as I've said already. A distance shot. It reminded me of something out of the 1978 era World Cup, an Argentina type thing. Shooting from 35, 40 yards almost. It was only just wide as well. That would have been a big start if we had got it. But I thought we did well to claw our way into that first half, because a lesser team would have folded a little bit under some of that Sunderland possession and pressure.
That's exactly how I saw it. Like you say, Sunderland started stronger, but we grew into the half. After about the half an hour mark, I think we started sort of asserting ourselves on the match a bit. And what a perfect time to score it was as well. I think it was like the 44th minute, weren't it? So
44 minutes, and what a move!
Yeah.
What a nice move!
Yeah, fantastic cross.
Crunching tackle on Ryan Leonard, who's not afraid. I mean, for a man that's come back from injury, Charlie, he's not afraid to get stuck in physically. I mean, it's no wonder he gets injured so much. If your body's prone to it, he doesn't hold back, and he got clattered in that move. But we kept the move going. That was a beautiful cross from Brooke Norton-Cuffy. He was a real talent. I know he's not ours, so we've got to be careful we don't fall in love with somebody that's going to move on. But he's a very, very talented boy, and that was a beautiful cross and a lovely, lovely finish by Kevin Nisbet in front of goal.
He's a very cultured finisher with the ball, I think, Nisbet. Took it first time, not unlike his goal at Portman Road all week, which was like the only bright spot really. But I think because he's also a player who's a bit prone to injury, I forgot how important he can be for us this season. So for him to get 2 goals in 2 games is really encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a little bit of debate online as to why Edwards took him off. I think he came out it was around about the 60th minute. I haven't got the team sheet in front of me, so I think it was around about then. But as others made a point back, he's still not 100% in terms of doing the full 90, and it would be lovely if we could see that length of performance from him. But we've got to nurse our way through this at the moment. So I'm not unhappy with Tom Bradshaw coming into a game, Charlie. I mean, I think that he's become a bit maligned, Bradshaw, because many see him just as a workhorse, but he actually went close a few times late on. And I like Tom Bradshaw. He's our top scorer last season. It's a strange Millwall attitude that you have to kind of dish your own almost, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that's exactly it. I think Bradshaw had his best season for us last year, if not the best season of his career. And you will get judged on that, really.
He went very close late on. There was like a flick shot, and I thought he'd missed it in real time, but I think he got a corner. So, and then in watching the playback this morning, the highlights reel, it was brilliant save by their goalkeeper, actually, because that was a really nice flick shot in from, I think it was Longman put the cross in from the left, and he caught it nicely. That was a very close, and also the disallowed goal, which I think probably was a touch offside, but only just. So, I don't think we're not shortchanging ourselves by bringing Tom Bradshaw in if we give him the service, Charlie.
I think the suggestion is that they're seen as, one, they're quite similar, him and Nisbet, and two, where they're the only sort of two out-and-out strikers in our sort of possession, we've got to use them carefully. And when they're playing up front on their own, each of them, they're being asked to do a lot. So you can sort of understand why Nisbet's absolutely knackered at that point in the game.
Yeah.
And Bradshaw's going to come on and then carry on a similar style of play. They probably are too similar to play as a pairing. So it would be interesting to me to see what might be done in January if they are.
Yeah, it's going to be a big month ahead there, I think.
They've sort of played it down a bit, but one of the things we've sold Edwards on is the fact that he has connections. So I would be very surprised if he doesn't try to utilise that.
Try to use his contacts on his iPhone. That would be nice. I mean, in fairness to Sunderland, I thought it was a bold move. They made a triple substitution, half time, I think it was, or just after, can't remember. Bringing in the likes of Dak and the West Ham bloke Pritchard, is it? And I thought they were effective. I mean, they looked a very dangerous unit coming forwards at us in the second half, Charlie. And I think we dodged a few bullets. There was a screamer of a chance, which I didn't realise in real time. It was Dan Ballard, wasn't it, the centre half? He put it over from close in the second period. And there's another one. I think it was Dak himself, actually, that went just marginally wide, but coat of paint wide from a crossing from Jack Clark, who's their danger man, the winger. And I thought we were living on our nerves a little bit up until the penalty, which we'll come on to in a moment. So I think we were doing well to hang on to that 1-0 lead, really. They were going ever closer, as it were, onto the penalty. And I still remain convinced that Ryan Leonard got the ball there. I can see why a penalty was given, but in real time, I thought he got the ball. And I've not changed my view looking at the social media clips today, Charlie.
I think I had to see it on replay because where I sit in the Dockers stand, it's quite difficult to tell from that angle. You obviously have a much better view of it.
Yeah, I was kind of looking down on it. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, but those things happen, I guess. I think one of the main concerns I had is, as I said earlier, you sort of see the argument for playing that way and also against it, because where you kind of are out of possession for so long, you kind of invite pressure and it can lead to those kind of things happening. I'm not like being too critical of them, but it was just that typical thing that we've been doing all season where we've got to be appreciative of the fact that these sides of quality and we can't just press and leave players open. But if you invite that sort of pressure, then it can also have its own problems.
I mean, we weren't afraid to pass it a little bit yesterday, and we weren't afraid to do the old Jake diagonal ball into somebody running forward. So, what I liked about yesterday was there was a pragmatic mix, and I think that was what I would take out of that game yesterday. But I was unlucky, actually, just looking at the penalty again as I'm talking to you. He was close to saving that, but there it is. It went in, and that's 1-1. I also liked, Charlie, and one of the reasons why I enjoyed yesterday, and it's been a while since I can say that I enjoyed going to Millwall, listeners, is we pressed on and we went for the win. And we didn't say, the Rowett style would have been to say one each, a point against a decent side, shut up shop. But we pressed on. I really like that.
I think it was a much needed reminder that we are good enough for this level as well. Yeah. I think I was probably a bit too kind of pessimistic after the Ipswich game, really like worrying about the prospects for this season. And I'm not saying we're out of any trouble, but yesterday was a reminder that we can actually hold our own in the Championship. And
we should do. In front of the Den, we should do.
Definitely.
The Den felt like it was back to its full, well, let's say back to 90% of what it can be. And that in itself is a powerful weapon, Charlie. I think the crowd responded to what they saw on the pitch, which was a committed performance. And that's all we've ever really looked for in a Millwall side. But it was good to see things looking like it's back to normal again a little bit.
there is a sense that there's a bit more positivity about the place, even on the back of those last two results. And it's quite encouraging as well, because I'm always quite cynical about our fan base and saying that, we can be we can be overly kind of expecting of them. But I think people are genuinely getting behind Edwards and believe in what he's trying to do. And he kind of he met us halfway yesterday as well, which was good on his part, I think.
Yeah, I'm one of my notes here I've written to myself, listeners. I've got style versus realism, Joe Edwards. I think that acceptance that you can't, he hasn't got Barcelona's squad there or Manchester City's squad. He's got to accept that we can ask some things of some players, but you can't place unrealistic expectations on some of the shoulders there. That said, I saw some good performances. I mean, I've said already, I don't know if you agree, Charlie, man of the match, Ryan Leonard. I thought he was a standout personally. Who would you go? Would you go for Norton Cuffy? Got it in the stadium, and I liked him, but I thought Leonard was my man yesterday. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree with Leonard. I think someone made the point earlier in the season. I think it may have been on the kind of IFLO commentary in one of the earlier games this season, and they said they were of the opinion, and I think there's a lot behind this, that if Leonard can maintain fitness, he's probably going to be a shoe-in for player of the season.
Yeah. No, I love Ryan Leonard. It's the fitness thing, but let's see. Let's hope that the club are on that, because he's a valuable asset. I also want to give a shout out to, Murray Wallace got monstered in the week, both on the pitch and off it, because people were slating him, saying he's not good enough. Well, he is who he is, Charlie. But he stood tall yesterday, and I thought he gave a really solid performance from a bloke that took a slating in midweek. And it takes balls to go back out there and do what you do, and that's what he did yesterday against a decent side too. You can always criticise Murray for, he's not the kind of a Scottish Maldini, is he? But he is who he is, and he'll give you that. That's all you can ask out of anyone. I really liked him yesterday.
Yeah, I think we're sort of acutely aware of his limitations as a player, and I would say the golfing quality between him and a player like Joe Bryan is evident. But you can never really question his commitment to the club, and he has been an excellent servant for us 100%. Over the past few years. I always sort of reminiscent of players like Alan Dunn a few years ago. They go through terrible spells where they'd be kind of absolutely pilloried by the support, but then they put in a performance that reminded you of why they've been around for so long.
You've got to admire that trait. Yeah. I mean, Dunn is a good analogy, because Murray got beasted in the week and he comes back. And there he is yesterday, putting in a solid Murray Wallace level performance. He's not going to be able to give you any more than that, but that is, it was a strong performance and a strong team turnout. I thought the whole side did well, yes, including some of the players that took some criticism, like Zian Fleming. I thought he looked a lot more sharper up front. Shame about a couple of silly yellow cards. I mean, Saville got a yellow card for doing the imaginary card symbol at the referee, and I hate that anyway. I mean, if I was a referee, I'd be handing out yellow cards liberally to anyone that shows me an imaginary yellow card. It's a silly moment, and I think even Jake seemed to get booked for having something to say about the penalty or where the ball was being placed. So that's a pity, because I think that's going to take them over the yellow card suspension limit for our next game at Cardiff. So quite costly, costly comments, if you like, on both counts. But there we are. Also an injury to Denor. This is a mystery injury, Charlie. I don't know if you've seen that. Apparently some kind of calf injury that's gone into his Achilles. It sounds like I don't know. Sounds like something off of Nelson's Navy, doesn't it? Where you get a leg injury that turns into an ankle injury and goes up your leg, and you finish up going around on a peg leg or something.
It's gutted. It is gutted, actually, because he's a real talent, I think.
He is. He's a loss.
He's been a good signing for us. But you know what? I'll be honest and say I've never been Mitchell's biggest fan, but it looks like he's actually kind of stepping up to the plate a bit now. I don't know what the situation is with Campbell. I mean, he's not really impressed me since he's arrived, but I don't know
Well,
You know,
he'll probably get a run out next week, I
yeah,
imagine, unless Edwards has some other idea in mind. But he was on the bench yesterday, but he seems to just lurk around like a few years ago we had Danny and Gesson that just lurked around the
oh
place and
God,
never,
yeah.
never kind of it was on the wage role, but that was about all he did do. So we may see him next week at Cardiff. It's going to be a difficult away trip because we're clearly going to have one or two key players out and not unavailable for that one, and a difficult day out. But I thought yesterday was a really hopeful step, the first step on the 1,000-mile journey, so to speak, Charlie.
Yeah, we just had to be given some form of positivity yesterday. I think it's a weird one because that Sheffield Wednesday result filled me with so much optimism. But you
and
very
me
much,
both, mate.
yeah. But you also try and remind yourself, didn't you, that like one swallow doesn't make a summer, and that you have to look at what Sheffield Wednesday situation was as well. And then, as I say, the Coventry and Ipswich results brought me back down to earth with a bang. So it was imperative yesterday that I came away with it with some form of optimism.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that point yesterday takes us to 21 points, 19th position, with 5 points clear of QPO 1 on Friday night. So there's an alarm bell ringing if we needed one, that we can't depend on there being three worse teams than us for the whole season. Rotherham, Sheffield Wednesday quite a way adrift, as you've said already. They're in deep trouble there. But there we are. So hopefully a step in the right direction, and it's on to Cardiff next week. Let's keep our fingers crossed for an improved performance there, because there's still work to be done, Charlie. I mean, I think you're right about January being a key moment in our season as to what we can do, especially scoring goals. I think if we have a improved goal scoring ratio, then we should be in no trouble at all this season. But that remains to be seen.
It's exciting. I mean, I think you're spot on when you say that appointing Edwards was a gamble, but it does provide you with a bit of kind of intrigue as to what the season's going to turn out to be. Because I think if Rowett had stayed, I think we'd have been okay, but yeah. I don't envisage that we'd have been sort of really in contention for the playoffs, and I think it would have ended up being one of those seasons that you can't wait for it to finish, kind of thing. Whereas
we'd have been bored rigid, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
We can't say that at the moment. Let's look forward to Cardiff. Charlie, I really appreciate you taking time out your Sunday for me, mate. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, mate.
Achtung, Millwall.
And the answer, dear listeners, to that punditgames.co.uk question at the start of today's proceedings: who was the target man who played for Wolves, played for West Brom, 24 goals West Brom, 2000 to 2004. He went on to Wigan, where he teamed with Nathan Ellington, 93 appearances, 37 goals, and also scored goals with Blackburn. Played for the Grenada national team. Who is that man? Jason Roberts. It is Jason Roberts. Do check out punditgames.co.uk and get your edition of the #1 football trivia board games. Great for Christmas. Recommended. And the Lions Food Hub gets a little dropsy every time you select Achtung Millwall at checkout. Thank you for listening. Arrivederci Millwall, dear listeners. Bye for now.